I was interested, I guess mostly Scott Stone, about how, because currently I'm a one-man, well, I got another gentleman that's technician underneath that I teach. When you talk about systemization, I'm really interested in getting my business, establishing those systems and procedures, and kind of how'd you do that to get started in that step of the direction?
Good question. So everyone has what they do every single day. Here's how you establish a system. You do something and you write it down. You just write it down and you put it in an order. And once you get to where you have everything how you do it every time, you have a system. It's that simple. So you just write it down, make a record of it. And really, that's all it is.
I'm gonna do a follow-up. Send her back over. Let's see. Everybody knows what the old spiral notebook looks like, right? Remember those? None of us use them, right? However many employees you have, go out and buy one each. Buy a master one that's for everybody, okay? Have every employee for an entire month write down every step and everything that they do for a month. Each employee. The master book is in your office or in your shop, and they can put things in that they think you could better in your company. And everybody has to come up with 5 things. So they gotta dig deep, right? At the end of the month, what's each one of those books?
Procedures. Process.
Process. Or you might find out that they're not doing what? The right steps. That's right. But you're gonna have a lot of common denominators. And remember I told you not everybody's gonna be a gold medalist? Well, you definitely want that gold medalist to be following the steps, because maybe he's doing something that's cutting that time down that you never thought about. And you've watched him and you didn't see it, but he wrote it down. And that's exactly how I built all my processes. That's it.
I noticed in one of the videos you used, you said you write on cardboard versus dry erase board. Would you, I guess, implement or talk about that?
Why I use cardboard instead of dry erase board?
Yeah.
Because nobody can erase it. You know how many times I put things on dry erase boards that I come in and I go, where did that go? Well, we erased that.
If anybody needs cardboard,
You're killing me.
I got you covered.
You got the cardboard clean? No, basically, you want to highlight the bullet points if you're going to build processes. He's watching a video where I talked about building processes and writing a manual. I mean, every time you got a page in that manual, you've got to write down some type of table of contents so that you understand what you're trying to get. Well, you come up with the table of contents right out of that notebook. I think some people, Scott did a thing on processes. I think some of you guys are you're overthinking this. You know what I mean? You really are. 'Cause it really does. It comes down to being that simple, doesn't it, Scott?
Absolutely.
Okay? But let's talk about this. So, you think you wrote this big old manual. Man, I'm organized now. I got everything down. Okay, employees, here it is. Follow it. Think that's going to happen?
No way.
Not going to happen.
No way.
Anybody talks about systemizing, everybody uses it, they love using that word fancy. I say everything's systemized. We do it this way. I can tell you right now that if you don't retrain, you can go out. Billy could have been doing that the same way for a month and a half. You go out and check on him 90 days later, it doesn't even look remotely close, does it, Scott? Nope. Okay? I'm going to use this as a simple thing for you. This is just one simple thing of accountability. Okay? We've all walked in a restroom, right? And you saw on the door where they sign off, they clean the bathroom, and they put the time in. Right?
Yeah.
What happens? Employee goes in there, signs his name on the back of the door because he's supposed to. You know you walked in there 30 seconds after you signed his name and you're looking and going, he cleaned that? Because he didn't clean it, did he? But If you walk into a restroom and you see the employee Billy that signed his name at 4:45, and you see the GM that's required to go in there and check on Billy sign his signature afterwards, I bet you will find a cleaner restroom, don't you think? You think? Okay? So you have to put some type of silly, you guys sometimes think these are silly things, and why would I need to do this? Because you want employees to self-manage themselves. If employees are going to self-manage themselves, what are they, Scott?
They're not employees anymore.
They're not employees, that's right. Okay? And that's exactly the truth. And they become your competitor.
We have a 6-to-1 ratio supervisor to employee. Our employees are checked every single day. And we have a meeting every single morning with the supervisors. And depending on who runs it, if I'm running it, it's 15 minutes. My wife runs it, it's an hour. But every single morning, we go through what they checked the day before and where the weak spots are. And we figure out where that is so we know who's going to need to have a ride-along to have more training, or who just needs to be, corrected a little bit and nudged back in the right direction. But we check on and review it every single day.
In my business, I use digital photography to verify quality. I have the guys take after pictures of their work. If they're out there unsupervised at night, I don't really want to show up at 3:45 to make sure they did the job right. So I have them take
That's your
pictures.
accountability.
Yeah,
Photos.
right.
So they keep those photos every
Well,
time they do the job, and then they send those same photos to you.
Exactly. I have a database. They turn their card in every week. No, I can't do that.
I caught him doing that, Tim. I caught him doing it.
No, I could.
They're too stupid to know there's a timestamp and a GPS on the picture. I'm like, that's the same picture you sent me last time.
And there's one hidden in the files underneath. I know that.
Plus, with what we do, we have cameras on all our trucks. We have a recording of everything they've done for the past week on the truck at all times.
More accountability.
So that if we want to, if they say, yeah, I watched that stop, we'll go back and look at it. No, we didn't watch that stop. If we get a customer calling in and saying, your guy was so rude to me and he oversprayed me while he was cleaning a bus stop, guess what? We go back to the camera and we can prove that he didn't. And this is to the point now that our customer, who's a city, if someone calls in and says they'll review their camera and we'll get back to you either way. And they know that we'll review the camera, and that 90% of the time, though, in fact, in the past 4 years, we've had one customer complaint that was proven valid, and it was because someone called their dog stupid.
I gotta hear this accountability. I gotta hear this accountability, man. I gotta hear this one. Come on.
What did they do? They did what?
We're good.
Hey,
Stupid.
Hey,
Your stupid dog out of here.
you're good. You don't need this.
Steve. Don't give me the mic. Take my mic.
So, sorry, Steve. You can start in a second. So here's what happened. Our guy was waiting at an intersection, and someone was just starting to cross it in the crosswalk, and the guy was taking a sweet time getting across it. And so the guy says, "Are you in a hurry or something?" He goes, "No, I'm just waiting for you and your stupid dog to get out of my way." And so the guy called into the city to complain, and we were able to prove that the guy did it. And we told him that, hey, that's not acceptable.
Call the guy stupid, not the dog.
I've got a question after we're done. This is the last question of the day. Go ahead, Steve.
and when you do, we take before and after pictures just so we can remind ourselves how good we are
That's a valid reason.
to show what we can do for advertisement. But I have a real good friend of mine that couldn't be here today. Some of y'all may know him. He's an old skinny guy, Aaron Ritchie. He and Paul was in Charlotte last month, and I unfortunately couldn't go. So they blowed my phone up with all kind of pictures of NASCAR stuff. So I sent them a picture of what I'm doing, but I made a mistake. I sent a picture of a truck and trailer that we just got through detailing in February, and this was last month. And Mr. Cassander caught it. Why has this picture got a date of February on it? It still lasted a long time.
They're still working on it.
Yeah.
Anything?